Okay, gonna call a regular meeting of council order for Monday, May 1st, 2023. First one on the order is public hearing, zoning amendment bylaw number 721, 2023. Public hearing to consider the zoning amendment bylaw number 721, 2023. This time I'll open up the public hearing for Monday, May 1st. Ms. Torval?
Thank you. Notice of public hearing is given to consider zoning amendment bylaw number 721, 2023. According to section 4641B of the Local Government Act, council will hear the public at the May 1st, 2023 regular council meeting to assist them in deciding whether the proposed amendment bylaw should proceed. The intent of the proposed amendment bylaw is to amend zoning bylaw number 585, 2012, intending to proceed with the zoning changes of Lot 8, Lot 9, Lot 10, and Lot 23 on Plan 31191, District Lot 3164, from rural resource to R2, which is residential single family. The referred lots are located respectively at 208 Bergeron Drive, 212 Bergeron Drive, 216 Bergeron Drive, and 16 Mayon Place. Any member of the public who feels they may be affected by the proposed change to the District of Tumbler Ridge zoning bylaw number 585, 2012 and wishes to register an opinion may do so by attending the May 1st, 2023 public hearing in the council chambers at 305 Isles Way, forwarding written submissions for council's consideration before noon on May 1st, faxing a written submission to our fax number, or emailing a written request before noon on May 1st, 2023. The bylaw was available for inspection at Town Hall from Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. As of right now, we have not heard any, there were no objections.
Okay, thank you for that. At this point, I'll call if there's any comments for the first time. Call a second time for any comments. I'm going to call a third time for any comments. Okay. Public hearing is now closed. Approve the agenda, please. Councilor Norbury?
That the May 1st, 2023 regular council meeting agenda be adopted as presented.
Seconder? Councilor Rousseau? All in favor? Carried. Adoption of minutes for April 17th, 2023 regular meeting of council minutes. Recommendation, please. Councilor Norbury?
That the April 17th, 2023 regular meeting of council minutes be adopted as presented.
Seconder? Councilor Noxana? Any errors or omissions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. 3.2, April 24th, 2023, special budget meeting of council. Recommendation, please. Councilor Rousseau.
That the April 24th, 2023 special budget meeting of council be adopted as presented.
Seconder. Councilor Hoffman. Any errors or omissions? All in favor? Carried. Any business arising from the minutes? Staff? Thank you. Council? Okay. Moving on to delegations. Dawson Creek Haven Family Services, Kurka and Angela Reys, co-founders presentable mental health support with the Tumbler Ridge area. Welcome. Please come up to the delegation. The floor is yours. Welcome to Tumbler Ridge.
Thank you. Thank you for having us tonight. I'm Angela Ray, and this is Kurka, and we co-founded Haven Family Services in 2019. Kira comes to Haven with a background in clinical counseling and social work, and I come to Haven with a background in supporting children with special needs, behavior challenges, and their families. We established Haven because we were both working in the community and we realized there was some real big gaps in services that were happening for families that weren't part of the Ministry of Children and Families or other social service agencies, families that were just looking to be able to walk off the street and say, we want help for our children, we want help for ourselves. So that's why we felt like an agency like ours would be beneficial. So the services we currently provide is clinical counseling, support for children who are diagnosed with autism, behavioral support, we do parent consults, we provide counseling support for seniors, we collaborate with various homeschools as well, becoming a part of their homeschool team. We work collaboratively with the Ministry of Children and Families, school district, and other social service agencies within our communities. Kira and I were both connected with different clients out in Tumbler Ridge in the past, and Haven now supports numerous families from the area here who choose to engage in support either virtually or in person in Dawson Creek.
Service providers, can you talk about that?
Sorry, go ahead.
So Haven Family Services are service providers for First Nations Health Authority, Métis of British Columbia. We're also approved service provider for ICBC.
And we provide support not just for the Dawson Creek area, but in the Tumbler Ridge area and the Chetland area, but also across Alberta and BC virtually. So we do have several clients from the Okanagan and across like the province of Alberta as well. And we are open to conversations as to how maybe we can further support the challenges that maybe you're facing in Tumbler Ridge.
Perfect. I know we did have a Zoom call early in the year, and I totally appreciate you coming up and meeting with council. I appreciated the Zoom call. I think it was great, the information you presented there as well. I guess my comment back would be, what can Tumbler Ridge do to assist having you come to this community? What would you need from us?
Well, it would be, a space to work out of would be a great place to start. We all know that finding staff is really hard as well, and we would strive to find somebody who's local, and that's a big challenge for us to provide. But we could start with talking maybe about a space, if we were able to travel out, what that could look like.
Okay, appreciate that. Council Nombre.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. So with space, like we do have a great community center there. We do have rooms that we can definitely use. And I know when I was working with the Building Healthy Communities Task Force, committee, we were talking about potentially offering mental health counseling through that, and we were looking at space and the community center. There are some places that people can go there. It's private, and it's it wouldn't be conspicuous if somebody went there.
Okay.
So like it's like everyone's in and out of the community center because there's everything there. So I think that would be an easy hurdle for us. You mentioned staff. Would it be possible with existing staff to come to Tumbler Ridge once every week or once every 2 weeks, or even having a interest lists and scheduling appointments for a half day? Is that something that we could look at?
Yes, I think, yeah.
Yeah, like nothing is off the table, and we're here to hear and how to best support Tumbler Ridge. And absolutely, that's something that can happen in the future. Also, families enjoy coming to Dawson Creek because they kind of make it their errand day. And they like to travel, they like to come, and it's not just about their appointment, but they do many things, right? So even that piece as well. So we're here as open to work with you guys, and the space, it's, confidentiality would be number one, right? And it's how do we respect that piece, and you would know the spaces that are available and the locations here that would definitely provide that piece.
And I like your comment about, because we would have to just see what's the need going to be for showing up in person for us to commit. Then we can make a commitment to see what that could look like. Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is that I've had experience with trying to bring in a speech therapist into Tumbler Ridge, and that seemed like it was I think there's lessons to be learned from that experience, and that seemed to be the best way to try it out and make sure that it's worth your time coming versus just showing up, pitching a tent, right? So,
absolutely.
I see another counselor wants to have a comment, so I'll save my next one for after.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councillor Julik.
Hi, I have had the privilege of using your services for my family myself, so I'm glad you guys could come out. I guess my question would be, is about getting information out. I'm surprised that when people talk to me about counseling services that they're not aware that you're available, and then the costs associated with that. So for me, my thing is I think if we can get the community to know that you're available, and then maybe as we continue to see those pieces happen, then we can see the need and figure the next pieces out. And particularly we had, Let's Talk, we had somebody stand up and say they didn't know how to get those services. And so for me, I know the important thing is how do we get them, how do we pay for them, and then how do we get them to you? So whatever, I feel like council would be definitely open to figuring those pieces out with you.
And when you speak about the cost of services, yes, that's something that we're always mindful of. We are a private agency, so it is primarily fee-for-service, but having said that, we always work with our clients to find out alternate ways to cover that, whether it's extended health care, whether it's through autism funding, whether it's through FNHA or Métis support, or homeschool support. We're always working with them to find alternative ways to support.
At the end of the day, we don't want cost to be a barrier for any form of service that Haven does provide. So it's how do we get creative on our end to meet the needs of the individual and or family that we're going to be providing service to.
And I think that's where we're kind of unique as well, is we're not just counseling support, we're wraparound family support as well. So we don't just I don't just work with a child in isolation, I work with the whole family. Sometimes it's sibling support, sometimes it's working with the parents to understand ways to help them understand ways to better support their child. Sometimes it's working within the school as well to help them understand the needs of the child greater. So we often attend school meetings, IEP meetings, and things like that as well.
And that was where my first connection with you folks was one of your staff came here and worked within the school, and that's how we first got connected, and it's been a good experience. So
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. You know, and if it's not Havens, maybe we're not the first step and we might be the third step. So it's how do we bridge that gap, because the system is very challenging to navigate, and we know the system very well. We know what is out there that is a lot of times not advertised, right? So if it's not Haven, then who? And then we bridge that piece for the individual to make, again, to kind of take off their plate, right?
Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. So I'm always thinking of, okay, how can we connect this to that? And we do have a few organizations in town I think we can definitely start getting this information to. They put in their back pocket, put it in a reference folder, maybe through our health task force. There's also a mental wellness group that's starting up. So I had a question regarding your clinical counseling. Is this for all age ranges, just children, just adults?
So we provide clinical counseling to children, youth, and adults, and seniors. So it's all ages.
Generally with some of the younger kids, it looks more like behavioral support and family support and like supportive listening too. Because we work from 4 years old to
I think our oldest is 86.
yeah, so we're right across the lifespan.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And then again, it depends on the individual. So young, it could be like play therapy compared to CBT form of therapy.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any more questions from council? So let's make a couple comments, and Councilor Norbury's already mentioned a community center space is available. There is other space within our community. I think we just have to be looked at to make sure we can keep that confidential for your clients. But I'd like to see it move forward. I think there is a need in our community. I believe when I first moved to this community in 2007, the mines had already been down and coming back. But the district of Tumbler Ridge lost a lot of youth counselors and stuff like that. There is, you can do Zoom now. Not everybody's into Zoom,
Right.
right? So I think it is something that can be an uptake in Tumbler Ridge. So I'd like to see us move forward on it. I don't know how we move forward unless you guys have a plan, but
I guess our plan is to probably work together with you guys to decide something that's gonna be sustainable and beneficial for everybody. Like for community, for council, and for Haven too, to like you said, to make sure we don't just show up and we don't have any clients here. So how can we work together to make that happen?
Yeah, appreciate that. Ms. Torval, would you be able to recommend anything like for staff contact so we can get some assist with advertising? And I know Councilor already mentioned the health task force, but staff have an easy access for reach in regards to the public.
Okay, if they would want to reach out to myself to start, and then I can put you in touch with someone.
Okay, and sorry, what was your name again?
Okay, she's going to grab my card.
Okay, thank you. And we are currently just updating our website as well and our info packets as well. So once we get those all finished and updated, we'll be sure to share some.
Yeah, and you have my email too. You can always email me a poster or something like that. We can make sure we get it up within the community. I think there's a need and people don't know where to go. And Councilor Julick mentioned that. We had a Let's Talk with our community last week, and we had people stand up, didn't even know about some of the stuff that was available through Northern Health, but Northern Health's only for adults, not for our youth and our children.
Yeah.
So that's where our gap is. I mean, yes, there is availability through the ministry, but again, most of that is via Zoom. And, it's very tough, I think, talking to a young youth via Zoom. Maybe not, they're probably more up on the techie, more on the techie stuff, but
Yeah.
I'm not. But yeah, if you can do that, I mean, we'll definitely try to support that way and that way. And then same with space, I think staff will just have to look into that in regards to, I believe we can do it even though it's a fee for that. I believe there's something we can probably do there, waive the fee policy or something like that, so we have something available,
Okay.
as long as council supports it.
Regarding like advertisement, like we do have a Facebook page, Instagram, I know that's very popular with the youth. We're also on the First Nations Health Authority service provider list. So any Indigenous individual that goes in for support through Northern Health,
Okay.
that's looking for extended, they should actually be provided a service provider list, so Haven is on that
Okay.
as well.
So who would be our point of contact then? Would it be you
Okay.
regarding all things moving forward? Okay,
Yeah, Ms. Torval.
thank you.
It's just easier with staff.
Okay.
And we get to a point, if we need to add you to one of our task force or liaisons, I'll do that too.
Okay.
That's not an issue. I have no problem pointing somebody there to support it.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming in. Thank you for driving to Tumbler Ridge.
Thank
Beautiful
you.
community, so
Yeah,
glad you guys were able to come up.
Enjoy the drive and
Yeah.
so thank you so much.
Thank you. There you go. There you go. Tumbler Ridge, UNESCO Global Geopark. Tumbler Ridge, UNESCO Global Geopark representatives Amanda Maggs and Al Kangas to update council on the Interpretive Center project. Welcome.
Thank you.
Floor is yours.
Oh. Well, we're kind of here at your invitation to answer your questions. So, was there a specific, do you just want a summary? I can give you.
Probably just a summary where we're at and the update. I know there was concerns in regards to financial amounts.
Yep.
Where you are at the building. I don't believe it's open yet. Where are we at? I think that's the kind of information council is looking for.
Okay, well, an add to our meeting at the museum a couple of months ago, where we gave you an update as to where we were. Total project was budgeted at $1.4 million. It was fully funded through several funding organizations. We started, building permit was issued in September of 21. Construction started in December of 21. The foundation was poured January, February of 22. The framing was installed last year in June. The building was meant to be completed in July of 22. But, through all of the issues that we had through the last couple of years with the pandemic and the issues that surrounded the pandemic, we did meet those targets. So the project has extended. We have cost overruns of 10 to 15% of the 1.42 million. We've applied to several other funding agencies to help us get that 10 to 15% so that we can complete. We have the monies in place to be able to complete the building, but we would be pulling from monies for the exhibits, outside and inside exhibits, to be able to complete it, which is our plan to do, but we still want to complete as per our initial plan was done back in the early 2020s. We do not have a response yet as to the added funding, but we are moving ahead with getting the building completed. We've gone through, so obviously what's happened is we've gone through our building fund. We're over budget, and we are just working with the contractor on the added funds to complete the job. And we're working through the contractor on how we're gonna get that completed. And we've gone over application, as I said, for further funding.
Okay, appreciate that.
Just for your information, the plumbing is completed inside. The inside plumbing is completed, and we turned the water on the other day, did we not?
Yep.
There is one outstanding issue that we do have with the district on, there was some issue at the start of the project, $17,000 of work that we had paid for that the district said they were gonna pay us back on. That hasn't happened yet because of the issues that we've had with district management. But we need to get that monies back also.
Okay, we get clarity on that, because I'm not aware of that myself.
I can give a quick
Okay,
summary.
yeah, I'd like to hear what it is, if, I mean,
Yeah, we've mostly been working with Dustin Curry, just on the communication on that one between our project manager and himself. So basically, when we went to go pour the foundation, it was found out that the water and the sewer lines were not correctly configured. So while the ground was open, all of that got correctly put back into the mains. So I think it was a matter of the building that was there before, which I don't know, had been draining. From what I understand, the sewer was connected not to the sewer lines, but to the storm drains. So we got that all corrected, which was a good thing. But then we were billed by the district for their hydrovac and some trucks and staff time and things like that, which added up to about $17,000.
And I think we have agreement with that the monies were gonna get paid back, right?
As far as I know, it was kind of left up in the air because
Okay.
of staff issues, but we would really like to talk to you about that because it would sure help a lot.
okay. I'm not sure staff, normally I wouldn't put staff on the spot. I think this can be dealt with later, and
Yeah.
we get back to you. I just, obviously as delegations for council, and staff's in the room, I imagine they'll come forward to council with the information and stuff like that, and then we can go forward on that. I've got it noted, so we'll stay on top of that and at least get an answer back to you guys.
Thank you.
Our focus is to get it done as soon as possible. We'd like to get it done, opened up this summer, which is not going to happen, but we would certainly like to get it done as soon as we can.
Do you know approximately what % complete you are?
We're about 80% complete.
Okay.
As far as the structure itself,
Structure,
the exhibits and stuff will be an ongoing, that's gonna be a live, something that happens live anyhow. But we do need to get the extra funding if council can help us with that, to be able to complete the landscaping. And I'm not saying money from council, but we've applied to several funding organizations
Yep.
for the overages.
What's the total overage or shortfall, including your landscaping, all that?
We've applied for $210,000.
Yeah, and we're looking into lots of different solutions for that. So we definitely went back and talked to the funders who have already given us funds for the project. Unfortunately, a lot of those funds are already completely tapped out and spent out. So there was we got nowhere on that. I spoke to the district grant writer about this. She's got her ears open for us. And the other kind of creative solution that her and I came up with was looking at possible naming rights for the building, which is something that we can absolutely look into sponsorship for. If some company out there wants to come in and have it have their name on the building, we're open to that. So her and I are meeting on Thursday to come up with sort of a proposal package for what that might look like and see what kind of response that we'll get.
And just because I know with us being new on council here, some of the plans we were given tonight does include a stage. That's no longer correct?
Yeah, so that was part of our project scope change. We still want to put a little stage there, but we're gonna have to move it to a later phase.
Okay. Okay, any questions from council? This was our ask to have this individual group come forward, so this is our opportunity to ask those questions. Councillor Julik.
I don't have a question. I just want to say it's been exciting to watch it go up and just because I remember at the inception of it all and I'm sorry to hear that you're having troubles. Do you have an idea? I guess I do have a question. Do you have kind of an estimated time when you might be hearing about the applied for funds?
I know South Peace Mackenzie Trust, who we've applied for, just meets as needed, so
okay.
I haven't heard when that's gonna happen. The other space or grants that we're looking at, like Canada Cultural Spaces, they're the same way. They just it's an ongoing intake, so we really couldn't tell you. But the silver lining, I guess, to having it the opening date pushed back is that it actually, if we're able to open next spring, it will actually coincide with our the Tumbler Ridge Geopark's 10-year anniversary.
10-year anniversary. Councillor Clickash.
Yes, Al, have you got the drywall on there?
No.
Is it done?
No.
No.
Well, then you're not at 80%, eh? You're below 75,
Okay, well, we're at 75 then.
below 75.
Okay, we're slightly below 75.
Okay.
What I'm being told by the experts, I'm not an expert, is that there's only a couple of days of drywalling to do.
Okay,
Have we reached out to local funders as well?
Such as like community forest?
Yep.
No, we have not approached community forest on this. We definitely could. We were trying to bring money into the community rather than, dip into our own pot, as it were. But that's certainly an option and we can look into it.
Yeah, I just think when you mentioned about naming rights, obviously there's a board that oversees it, but we're the shareholders of it, so maybe we just need to have that conversation one day with our community forest liaison and see if there's some way we can, look at that from our side as well, right? If there's a shortfall there, and I know it's tough for Al because he sits there as a community forest, but, I look at that as a funding model from the council side as well. With a board, it's up to the board. We don't make those decisions. We can only support letters, and to me, it looks a benefit to get it completed. I know you've been at it for quite some time, and to see it to come to fruition for your group and for the board, and then also for the residents and the visitors. I think it's great. It's come along well, but it's needs to be completed.
Absolutely. We're excited to get in there too.
Yeah, and my other comment or question would be the mechanical room has now been moved upstairs, even though at a previous delegation I was told it would be in the basement or in the crawl space. Is that correct?
No, it's in the crawl space.
Okay.
Yep.
All the mechanical components are in the crawl space. Okay. I've heard different. That's why I ask.
Oh, no.
Okay.
It's not upstairs.
Okay. Any more questions from council? Perfect. Thank you very much. Wish you luck. Hope you can get the funding. Like I said, there's.
It's not luck we need, we just need to get her done.
There you go.
Thank
Well,
you, though.
get her done.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Amanda and Al. Moving on to consent agenda. Recommendation, please. Councillor Julik.
That all items in the May 1st, 2023 consent agenda be moved for information.
Seconder. Councillor Norbury. All in favor? Carried. Is there any items in regards to correspondence council like to bring forward? Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. 7.2, the Johnny Malcolm Foundation.
Seconder. Councillor Julik. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Councillor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. So we have a request here from the Johnny Malcolm Foundation requesting green fees, in which we have done in previous years, and I'd like to see them continue. The money that they raise goes to great causes, which they've outlined in their letter. So I will make a motion to waive all green fees for the 2023 annual John Handley Memorial Golf Tournament.
Seconder, I'll second that. Discussion. I'm going to look to staff because I believe we had the same group come forward last year, and we asked staff to reach out to them to make sure they had the letters submitted in the proper amount of time for when we do the golf courses with Legion and such. Do we know if they were reached out to there? I think there was a timeline to apply for that. And maybe they're within the timeline, and that's fine, but I just remember that when we put that out there as a policy, that there was a timeline attached for these people to, these organizations to submit. Ms. Torval?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I believe there was. They did submit a letter. However, because there's still a spot open on the in the exempted policy for a golf tournament, or fee waivers for golf tournaments, then we let them in on the agenda.
Do we know what the deadline is for those submissions? I'm just concerned as this moves forward and more groups start to apply, we're going to start doing one-offs when we have a policy to follow. So I have no issues with the motion that's on the floor, but coming on later, whether the Global Geopark decides to do one, the museum does one, council needs to debate those all at the same time.
January. January the 8th, I believe, is that first Friday in the first week of January.
Okay. Any more discussion? Okay, call the question on the floor. All in favor? Carried. I am going to put a motion on the floor just in regards to this, that staff reach out to the John A. Malcolm Foundation to advise them of the deadline per our policy. Seconder on the motion. Councilor Norbury. Discussion. The only reason I put it out there, I just think as this continues on and people here that we're willing to do it up to 2 people or 3 people, I believe it's 3 because 1 is automatic, it's nice to make that decision early and we're not trying to do one-offs. Councillor Julik.
So I guess my suggestion would be that we let them know that this time is the last time. That 8th next year, they're going to have to do the deadline as much as we would want to give them the one-off. That's my opinion anyways. We have to stick by policy.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I put it on the floor there, just so that, again, we could have multiple organizations come forward and it's tough. So, any more discussion? Call the question on the motion. All in favor? Carried. Councillor Hoffman.
Thank you, Mayor. In policy, I haven't read it, so I'm not going to pretend that I have. Is there a way to deal with the fact that either recurring people get again the next year, or if we're going to do some sort of rotation? As you just stated, it just clicked in my head that we're going to have 6, 7, 8, 9 as the years go on requesting this. So is there anything in policy suggesting an annual tournament that they're going to be able to do so, or is it just something we're going to have to decide?
Yeah, I think staff can bring it forward. I can't remember the policy off by hand, Councillor Hoffman, but I believe 1 has already been approved. I can't remember what it reads. So best to have the policy come forward at a PMP, and just for council, or even emailed to council for council to have a read through it. But what it is there's so many that we're willing to give, and I think what it is to me is we just want to have them all in at the same time. And then we can make that discussion and that debate by council. And yeah, it's tough when you have to make a choice for 1 or 2 groups, but there's a cost to it.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Appreciate it. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. Thank you for Councillor Hoffman for bringing up what I wanted to bring up, is that we do have an exemption policy, and I think it's a good idea for us to review that, because I believe there are some, it needs reviewing and updating. And this organization, if they're coming back year to year, it makes sense that we add them to the exempt policy, and I think it'd be a good idea. So I'm ready to make a recommendation if.
Don't need it. It's already coming forward.
Good.
Okay. Is there anything else from correspondence? Councillor Julik.
The 7.3 Peace River Regional District, it looks like they are looking to see if we would be interested in participating in the Accessible British the
Collaborate on Accessible British Columbia Act initiatives.
There you go. Yes, that would be the one.
Yep.
And so I would like to make a motion that we do participate.
Okay, I'll second that. Discussion? So it's a regional, it's just so we had this at the PRD and we've put it out to all municipalities that are part of the PRD, including North Rockies. It's a huge undertaking municipality by municipality. So this will be done regionally. Everybody will pay into it based on your population. And we'll have one organization come in and assist all of the municipalities in the PRD. So it's a benefit to us. Councillor Noxena.
So what I read from this is it'll be law that we have this followed. Is that attainable without bringing in a contractor, do we feel?
If we did it, we'd be bringing in our own contractor. Staff would not be able to. I mean, I go to staff, but I know that I had a discussion with Ms. Torval before I went to the last PRRD meeting, wanting to know if this was on our agenda. Because staff has been waiting for this because it is a big undertaking by municipality by municipality. I think we'll see all of PRRD jump on board. So, but just staff, I don't want to answer for you, correct?
Thank you, that is correct, Mayor.
Councillor Nobre.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. My only question to staff or anybody who might know, will this meet our legislative requirements, having a organization that we're a part of, or would we as a municipality need our own accessibility group?
Well, they're going to be doing it for each municipality, not just for the regional district. They'll be doing one for Tumbler Ridge, Chetwynd. It'll be as a whole for the region. Ms. Torval? That's my understanding from PRD.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. It will be a regional endeavor with a, I don't know the details of how the committees will be set up because I know that there has to be a committee in place. I could guess that it's going to be it may be a regional committee, it may be individual committees for each community, but as we move further with this and if we can get council's support and approval, to let them know that we're in, then we will get more details as it unfolds.
Follow?
Yeah, the reason why I bring it up is that I just don't want us paying twice, right? Like if this doesn't meet our legislative requirement, we have to set up our own, you know, that's my only concern, but it sounds like this should be good, so I'm in support.
Correct, Ms. Torval. It will meet our
Thank
requirements.
you. I am confident that it will meet the requirements of the
Thank you. Councillor Hoffman.
Only concern I have is some mechanism to ensure that there's a large portion of the communities that are in. I don't want to say I don't want to be the first one in as dipping our toes in. So I think if we could do some sort of conditionality of saying as long as 50% of communities are in, then we're in too type thing. That's.
Yeah, I'm actually going to support the motion on the floor, but I understand your comments. PRRD is already in. They have to do it too. So PRD is the whole regional PRD, so that would be all the electoral areas, not communities. So as it bounders, so electoral E, D, C, those, like, they have community halls.
Yeah, well, you're talking majority of population's already covered by PRD.
Well, and they own the community center in Chetwynd, so they would have to do it for that community center.
Okay.
That'd be my comment.
No, that's fair enough. Thank you.
Councillor Jilek.
I was just going to reiterate what you said. I think even if we were the first ones in, it's still going to be less expensive than if we did it on our own.
I agree. Okay, any more discussion? Call the question on the motion. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Might as well bring 7.4 up for discussion. They're looking for a letter of support. If somebody wants to make a motion for a letter of support, Councillor Jilek.
Make a motion that we provide a letter of support for Community Futures Peace Liard as requested.
Okay, I'll second that. Sorry, no, Councillor Murray. Discussion? Okay, call the question. All in favor? Carried. Sorry? Yeah, I should have. That was my fault. Yeah, I missed it. Could have called point of order. So just so council aware, Councillor Murray just asked that there was no motion to put it for discussion. Should have been a point of order, but. Moving on to bylaws, 8.1, zoning amendment bylaw number 721, 2023. Report dated May 1st, 2023 from the Deputy Corporate Office regarding zoning amendment bylaw number 721, 2023. Councillor Jilek.
That the zoning amendment bylaw number 721, 2023 be read a third time.
Seconder, Councillor Dussault. Discussion? Okay, call the question. All in favor? Carried. 8.2, Growing Communities Capital Reserve Fund, bylaw number 727. Report dated May 1st, 2023, from the interim CEO, Director of Corporate Services, regarding Growing Communities Capital Reserve Fund, bylaw number 727. Recommendations. Council Norbury.
That council gives the first reading to Growing Community Fund Reserve Fund Bylaw number 727, 2023.
Seconder. Councilor Julik. Discussion. All in favor? Carried. Second recommendation, Councilor Julik.
The council gives second reading to Growing Communities Fund Reserve Fund Bylaw number 727, 2023.
Seconder, Councilor Clickash. Discussion. All in favor? Carried. Third recommendation, Councilor Dussault.
That council gives a third reading to Growing Communities Fund Reserve Fund, Growing Communities Fund Reserve Fund Bylaw number 727, 2023.
Seconder, Councilor Clickash. Discussion. All in favor? Carried. Financial Plan Bylaw number 725, 2023. Three readings. Report dated May 1st, 2023, from intern CEO, Director of Corporate Services, seeking three readings of the Financial Plan Bylaw number 725, 2023. Councilor Dussault.
That council gives first reading of the District of Tumbler Ridge 2023 Financial Plan Bylaw number 725, 2023.
Seconder, Councilor Clickash. Discussion. Call the question. All in favor? Carried.
Your worship,
Yep. Ms. Torval? Sorry,
yeah.
Ms. Torval.
Miss Weiner. Thank you. I just wanted to mention, I see a page is missing that from the report that I sent in that had all of the numbers. I just want to confirm that's part of the bylaw that's in front of you for the Schedule A summary. I just sent an email to Ms. Torville about it, and it needs to be part of the bylaw. It's got all 5 listed with the summaries on it.
Paragraph.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Paragraph.
Does it go, what I see online goes.
Okay,
to
give
the
me 1
pie
second.
chart.
I'm going to put a motion on the floor to take a recess. Seconder. Okay, we're going to go to recess. Staff can click clarity. All right, Mr. Orville, just to get clarity on what we were missing in the recommendation, or if we are?
It was one of the Schedule A summary from the five-year financial plan, just one sheet.
But them also need to be read off in the motion? Okay. Now I was going to find out where I was here. Perfect. Okay, any more discussion in regards to it? Councilor Norberry?
I was just going to read the second motion. I believe we passed the first motion.
No? It was just on discussion. That's what I asked. Is there any discussion in regards to the first recommendation? Okay, call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Second recommendation, Councilor Norberry?
The council gives second reading to the District of Tumbler Ridge 2023 Financial Plan Bylaw number 725, 2023.
Seconder, Councillor Clickash, discussion. Councillor Norberry.
Thank you, Mayor Kukalka. I did have a question regarding the PRA funding that is left over. I did read that we still have to the end of the year to use it. Are boilers potentially usable for this funding, the Geopark shortfall? I'm just concerned that we lose it if we don't use it by the end of the year. Thanks.
Mr. Orville?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I believe our budget specialist would like to speak to that. Natalie?
Thank you, through your worship, to Councillor Norbury. Yes, there's funding. You don't have to utilize it by the end of the year. You can be carried forward to a future year. It just had to be allocated, and currently it's allocated to asset management type projects. And so asset management type projects would definitely be the boilers. They'd fit into that category. Now, the other project, I wouldn't necessarily look at that one as a District of Tumbler Ridge asset management project, but it could always be reviewed.
Okay, good with that. Okay, any more discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Recommendation number 3. Councilor Norberry.
The council gives third reading of the District of Tumbler Ridge 2023 Financial Plan Bylaw number 725, 2023.
Okay, seconder, Councillor Clickash. Discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Bylaw number 726, 2023, tax rate bylaw. Report dated May 1st, 2023, from the interim CEO, Director of Corporate Services, regarding tax rate bylaw. Recommendations. Councillor Dussault.
The council receives this report for discussion.
Seconder. Councillor Clickash. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Second recommendation, or does people want to discuss in regards to the rates, which could be moved around, is my understanding. Is that correct, Mr. Orville?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So we see the rates in front of us from staff in regards to their suggestion, in regards to all of the different categories. So council can be happy with what's in front of us, or we can move them around. And I believe we can see it live on a screen if we decide to move it. Is that correct? Yes. Yeah. Councilor Norberry.
Thank you, Mayor Kukalka. I'm happy with what staff has put in front of us. I think it's well-rounded across tax classes, and they're all relatively close, versus previous years where we did large or small in different years. So I'm very happy with what we have in front of us, and I'll make the first recommendation that council approve a 4.5% increase in taxes to be collected from the residential tax class.
Seconder. Councillor Clickash. Discussion. Councillor Hoffman.
I don't think that was the number that I'm reading in front of me. 4.5.
4 point, yeah, that's what you said. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you. I'll amend that to 5.46%.
Okay, seconder on the amendment. Councillor Clickash. Discussion on the amendment. Call the question. All in favor of the amendment? Carried. Okay, discussion on the amended motion. Call the question. All in favor of the amended motion? Carried. Councillor Norbury?
Council approve a 3.42%, 3.42, making sure I got it right, increase in taxes to be collected from the utility tax class.
Okay, seconder, Councillor Dussault. Discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carries. Fourth recommendation? Or third, fourth line. Councillor Dussault.
That council approve a 6.29% increase in taxes to be collected from major industry tax class.
Seconder, Councillor Hoffman. Discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Next recommendation? Councillor Dussault.
That council approve a 6.3 increase in taxes to be collected from light industry tax class.
Seconder, Councillor Clickash. Discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Last recommendation, Councillor Norbury.
The council approve a 5.45% increase in taxes to be collected from the business tax class.
Seconder, Councillor Dussault. Discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. New business. Code of Conduct Policy E03, report dated May 1st, 2023, from the intern CEO and Director of Corporate Services regarding the Code of Conduct Policy E03. Recommendation. Councillor Dussault.
That council approves the Code of Conduct Policy E03 as presented.
Seconder, Councillor Clickash. Discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. 9.2, Tumbler Ridge Public Library regarding appointment. Report dated May 1st, 2023, from the Deputy Corporate Officer seeking the reappointment of Caitlin Garden to the Tumbler Ridge Public Library. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kukalka. I need to excuse myself as I work at the library and have a monetary interest.
Take the recommendation. Councillor Julik.
That council approves the reappointment of Caitlin Garden to the Tumbler Ridge Library Board.
Seconder, Councillor Dussault. Discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Please. Schedule of meetings. Ms. Torval, I imagine there has to be another one added for the final reading.
Yes.
Staff had a preferred date. No, it has to be 24 hours after the motion passed tonight.
What about Wednesday, the 3rd?
Council? Councillor Julik?
If I can, I'm in Dawson that day. I could join by Zoom or something, though, as long as it was later in the afternoon.
Okay. Councillor Noxana?
I have a 5 p.m. meeting, so if it could be later than that.
I'm actually thinking first thing in the morning. I'm not sure what time you're leaving for Dawson Creek, but this is a one recommendation put on the agenda, and it'll be for the approval of the financial plan. It's the fourth final reading. So, Councillor Julik.
I'm actually 8:15 meeting, but I'm fine not being at the meeting unless you need a unanimous.
Yeah, you don't need to. Just need a quorum.
Yeah, and so it's not a big deal for me. If everybody else is available Wednesday morning, that's good.
Okay. Does 9:30 a.m. work for council? Councillor Norbury. So you have your button on, sorry.
I'm good.
You're good? Does 9:30 work for council? I understand Councillor Julik. But if we make it later, then I believe Councillor Noxana can't make it. So I think we're in the same. I'm not sure what other schedules are, if that works. So 9:30 for Wednesday the 3rd. Okay. And that'll be the only thing on our agenda, correct?
That is correct.
Just want to make sure for yourself. Okay, is there any other schedule and meetings for council? Ms. Torval?
Sorry.
Natalie wants to speak.
Ms. Weiner has got something to say.
I'm just wanting to clarify, is this for both the financial plan and the tax rate bylaw? Because they have to be done by May 15th.
Ms. Torval?
Yes, that is correct. Okay. So apparently we haven't done the first 3 readings of the tax rate bylaw.
Okay,
So I'll ask Ms. Weiner to speak to that.
Yeah, I see in the email that I sent them off to you, Aline. Do they have that in front of you, in front of them, the tax rate bylaw?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
With the numbers?
It's in the agenda.
okay. Let's go into a recess, please. 5-minute recess.
Yeah.
I haven't enough seconded, sorry. I did last time, but. still on schedule of meetings. Is there anything else from council side? Ms. Torval, I guess my question would be, I guess, when do we think we will see from the high school in regards to the graduates for the bursaries? Do we know? Okay. So there may be another meeting needed to be added in June, just for council to be aware. Or sorry, May, I would hope they should be in May. Just because it depends on how many letters we receive, the amount of discussion that we could have with those, is my guess, Mr. Torval.
Yes, thank you. I reached out to the school today to send them a copy of the policy and also to let them know that while there wasn't a deadline in the policy itself, that we would need to, I would need to have the applications in by the end of May in order to make the first meeting there in June, council meeting in June.
Okay.
So,
And then it just depends how heavy that meeting is, if we have to. Okay, good enough. Sound good with council? Okay, perfect. Nothing else from council in regards to scheduled meetings? Okay. I am going to put a motion on the floor that we add to the agenda tonight, short notice, but the add bylaw number 726, a bylaw to establish tax rates for 2023. If I can have a seconder to add that. Councillor Julik. Discussion? So it's just being added, it was just something that was missed in our agenda, and it's just to do the first three readings of the tax rates that were set previously here by council. That's what that's for. Okay, call the question. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. We'll put it under, we'll put it as 9.5. And before we move on, follow-up action list, fairly large list in front of council. If there's anything from council that needs clarity. Everybody's good? Okay. Okay, moving on to 9.5, report in regards report for the first three readings of our tax rates brought forward by our corporate services / intern CEO. I'll take the recommendations. Councilor Norbury.
That council gives the first reading of the District of Tumbler Ridge tax rate bylaw number 726, 2023.
Thank you. Seconder. Councilor Julik. Discussion. All in favor? Carried. Second. Councilor Norbury.
That council gives second reading of the District of Tumbler Ridge 2023 financial plan bylaw number 726, 2023.
Seconder. Councilor Hoffman. Discussion. All in favor? Carried. Councilor Hoffman, or Councilor Norbury, sorry.
That council gives the third reading of the District of Tumbler Ridge 2023 tax rate bylaw number 726, 2023.
Seconder. Councilor Clickash. Discussion. All in favor? Carried. Okay, is there any notice of the motion? Council? Okay. 10.1, Summer Road Policy at the March 20th, 2023 regular meeting of council. Mayor Kurka brought forward the following notice of motion. I'm going to change it a bit, and I'm going to put a motion on the floor that we bring this to a P&P for discussion with council and staff. Take a seconder. Councilor Norbury. Discussion. And the reason I'm doing that, I'll be honest, I talked to Ms. Torval. I don't remember wanting a report, but I want to have a debate or a discussion with staff of what I would like added to the policy, maybe what other councilors would like added to a summer road policy if we decide to go that route, but also to hear back from staff on, you know, that's good, maybe we should try this or whatever, because it's really and truly, it may be a policy that we implement, but it's staff that'll be dealing with it. And to me, it's just about our line painting, which, I mean, staff's been right on it. Street sweeping's already done. We're line painting. I mean, you know, they're on it. But that's what I was looking at in regards to a summer road policy. With an end date. It has to be done by a certain date. So I'd rather take it to a P&P. Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. I think it's a great idea. It would be, I would like to be able to inform our residents when we plan to have certain things done with the roads, like our street sweeping, our lines, so they have some understanding of when it will be. And I know staff will come back with some great recommendations and suggestions for us on how to keep our roads looking good over the summer. So I support it. Thank you.
And this is the other thing, like when we ask for reports, it's to me, we're asking staff to take time away from their everyday duties to go and get this report. And to me, and I think staff will do a great job capturing it in the report. But if there's things missed, then we're just adding it to that report anyways. So to me, this saves on staff time as well. The more reports we give to staff, the more time it takes them and other things they can't get done. So, okay, call the question on the floor. All in favor? Carried. Councillor's business. Any councillor have business? No councillor. Councillor Norbury, you want to have anything? Just before I have lots, so I'll try and give council an opportunity before I take over here.
I submitted my report via email. Thank you, Mayor.
Did I miss it, Councillor Norbury? Did you just report? Okay. Missed the agenda, though. I know Councillor Norbury was there, Councillor Dussault were there. We went to the volunteer appreciation barbecue. Hats off to staff. Well decorated. The atmosphere was great. Low turnout, but I mean, people that were there were grateful for what the district has done to support the volunteers in Tumbler Ridge. So hats off. I thought it was well organized by staff to put it on, and yeah, I handed out burgers and it was fun. Right, Council? Yeah. We all attended Let's Talk, so it's just not mine. I thought maybe council would have talked about it, but I thought it was well attended. I want to thank the Northern Health representatives, the BC Ambulance representatives, and the fire department, or Chief Curry, for showing up. Chief Curry showed up on short notice, and that's from my fault, not from staff side. Forgot to reach out to him. So for Chief Curry to be able to drop whatever he was doing when I gave him the last minute notice that, hey, I forgot to call you. So appreciate that, Chief Curry. But I thought it was well attended. We got some information from Northern Health. We got some information from BC Ambulance and what they, I won't say mandates, but I guess their policies and stuff in regards to after hours emerge, and then in regards to BC Ambulance and stuff like that, and the diversions they talk about, the shortness of nurses and stuff, and that they were trying their best. And if everybody's aware, I think emails were sent out to all council that we went on diversion that following weekend. And then again, this weekend, we went on diversion once again. To me, when we go on diversion, the problem I have there, which I'll be meeting with Northern Health at the NCLJ, it puts a strain on our fire department, puts a strain on BC Ambulance. If the ambulance service has to attend a call, there's no after hours because we're on diversion, they now have to go to Dawson, Chatwin, Fort St. John, wherever there's a bed opened. Now that puts our volunteer fire department, the only ones in town until cross coverage gets here. That is a huge concern of mine. And I think it is time the council needs to deal with this. I keep bringing up about diversions. The health task force needs to start holding Northern Health accountable. We need to find out what we can do to assist. If that's, again, looking at more funding models, if council supports it, if council does not support it, then that's fine. But that is, to me, what we need to start looking at. We can't be without nurses in our community. Something bad's going to happen. That's just my thing. I've heard from residents. I take many calls. Coming home from meeting with ministers in Victoria, received phone calls as soon as I hit the airport. Because I was unaware of it, but I seen it on Facebook. They didn't send an email this time, so they must not want to send us emails now. So I don't know. But that is a concern. I believe you're attending the meeting with myself. We did try to make a meeting with the Minister of Health over at in Victoria. It was unsuccessful, but I was hoping to catch him in the hallway. That didn't happen as well. It seemed to like he avoided our delegation part of the group, so be it. So that's Let's Talk. Again, just so council is aware, this ends up in our agenda, but it's also in my office. I'm not going to go through everything that was asked and answered. I met with the school once again in regards to a liaison, a council liaison, and I don't know how to do it. And I think I'll talk with Ms. Torval later about bringing the policy that we have now in regards to a youth counselor, and we need to get rid of that policy. It doesn't seem like it's supported I think it's too much workload for our school and our teachers, and I totally understand that. Like, we came up with a policy, back in the day, council came up with a policy to have youth council at the table. It was written that staff would reach out to the school, wash their hands of it, the school would do all the other work. So we have teacher working after their own hours, on their own time, trying to do this for our community benefit. So I understand it from the school side. Some of the questions that were answered in there, and Ms. Councillor Julik, I apologize, I didn't reach out to you, but I do mention in regards to the school trustee, if there's any concerns on how that was done. I don't know if the school board was ever reached out back in the day, or if those are one-offs and communities can just do that. Is that something that's allowed?
I would say that something like that would definitely fall within the school's purview. And the school's no different than anything else. They're all just stretched really thin. So, yeah, I think that we could do something similar like Let's Talk with Kids as a council and have it specifically for kids, maybe have it at the high school, give them food. They'll come and talk to us.
Yeah, give them food, there you go. There is talk about starting up the, I'm sorry, what did you guys call it? Youth Advisor Council. Again, I do not believe that should be done by our staff. I think it has to be like something like the youth center or something like that. I think council can support it, and I'm willing to. And I talked about that at the school with Miss Hewitt. 100%, I will support it and participate in it. You know, I can't speak for staff, but I know we have an executive assistant that can help and assist there to get it off the thing. But I think an organization has to take it over. Youth center or something like that. If there's other organization that, I don't think it can be council led, because I don't think we get the proper information that we would be looking for in regards to them coming in regards to what we could do for youth. I think council would have too much input on a committee like that. Councillor Julik.
I would say, I'm serious about us doing a Let's Talk with Kids at the school. Like, I think the kids could come and talk to us and say, what is it that this is what we want. I think we could invite the elementary kids over. Like, I mean, even if it's just an exercise in teaching them about what local government is and who we are and what that looks like for them, that maybe that's something they'd like to get interested in. I think it could be, like, say, as simple as what we did with the community at the community center, talk to the school and tell them we'll bring in food and do it that way.
Ms. Torval.
Thank you. Just so council is aware, staff is working with the school to do something with the kids for local government week, and we are planning a mock council meeting and going to be doing some things along those lines. So we'll keep council apprised of where we are with those plans.
Thanks, Ms. Torval. You beat me to it, because I was going to bring that up, how we had that discussion with Ms. Hewitt, because she wanted me to attend another meeting with the teacher, but I had other meetings already scheduled, and they were talking about maybe, coming in and speaking to the youth and stuff at the school. And I'm like, well, let's talk with staff and see if we can pull a rabbit out of the hat and do a mock council meeting, let them have a mayor, and have maybe if somebody wants to be a CAO, and, work directly with staff, right? And make up their own agendas and have it family orientated and stuff like that. So, Councillor Noxena.
That was actually going to be my suggestion, that a similar model to youth parliament, because I see our youth in Tumbler Ridge have definitely taken an interest in that. And we've had local youth head down to Victoria to participate, so great. And I love the idea of a let's talk, let's hear what the kids want.
Yeah, we can do stuff like that too. I just, we're starting with this process with Ms. Hewitt and then go from there, but I think there's other things that they can do. Sorry, I'm going to keep going, and then you guys can ask at the end. Sorry, there's lots in here. I just want to get it out. Had a quarterly update with Northern Health, and that was on the same day as Let's Talk. So just before the meeting, again, just where they're at, some of the concerns in regards to their diversions. They talked about what they planned on presenting the night at Let's Talk. So normally quarterly meetings are done with Northern Health, and usually it's not that, but. Kofi, we already talked that Councilor Norby and I had attended Kofi. Again, I think the first day was great. Great presenters, great information. I think Friday was a little bit more put towards the contractors and the owners of the mills than it was from the council side, but I do believe that we should always have representation at that meeting. whether it's the mayor and the liaison that's appointed to community forest or either or, but depends on people's schedules. But I think it was definitely, first time I've been there, thought it was great information, learned more than I thought I know. So thanks, Council Norbury, for letting me follow them along. Met with Soto First Nation as well. Again, this was just the initial get together, meet new councillor or new mayor and the new council there, the new mayor there, but they have an election coming up in June. They're all rerunning. We talked about the U18 hockey with Dawson Creek and stuff. Eventually there will be a council to council meeting with Soto, Westmo. I've yet to meet with McLeod, but I will be. One thing they did talk about is Pelican Days, again, with COVID restrictions gone, no longer there, I shouldn't say COVID's gone, but without the pandemic is now at ease, they are going to be also running Pelican Days. So there'll be an invite coming out, and I mean, if people's schedules are open, probably something good to attend. Myself, I've never been, but I plan to attend this year. One of the things they're concerned with, or one of their biggest questions that came from their council was the mask that is being held here in Tumbler Ridge. I believe it's over at our community center at this time. So we're going to be setting another meeting up with the groups in regards to that. So Treaty 8 and that, we'll be working through that. I think I didn't have all the information. Zena has sent us some information now. So I'm just reading through it now, but there were some things that were supposed to happen. I don't believe that it's all happened. They were looking at replicas of the masks so that whatever nation wanted a replica could have one. They're willing to pay for those replica. When I talked to Zena, they're unsure how to do the replicas and if they can. So things like that, like again, so the museum is at capacity. They have no capacity to take this on. So I think we need to get involved and have a meeting and see what can be done. Now, I'll be honest, I'm hoping that can be like at a council-to-council meeting after the fact, because there could be where we need to start maybe implementing some of our staff time or looking at some stuff. One thing was they were supposed to be applying for grants to get the mask into a case that is humidity and everything else that the mask needs to not break down. That has not been done yet. So, to me, we're holding on to that mask and for Treaty 8. Lots of the nations say they have ownership to it. So there's been a handshake that at this point in time it stays within Tumbler Ridge. That could change with Site C building a museum or something, a culture center at Site C. So, and one question we had, I missed a turn, so we drove a little further, but a nice new building coming into Soto, and that's their culture center. It is going to be very nice. They'll be doing a grand opening, inviting a few people up in regards to that, probably councils and mayors. I talked about the school District 59 meeting when that was with Ms. Hewitt. Global Geopark, we'll skip that one. Westmo, we talked about that one already. Museum. Okay, that's it. Sorry, that's what happens. Let me tell you, there's lots of meetings. I'll do a quick overview of Victoria. Eventually those notes will come out. We just got back late Friday, so Ms. Curry would not have had time to get all the minutes out in front of council. We met with Minister of Tourism, Minister of Housing, and Minister of Modi. I'll be honest, Minister of Tourism, well prepared, knew what our ask was. They had the right people in the room. BC Management Fossils was there. They brought in some samples. The tourism minister was just flabbergasted. They're not totally from Tumbler Ridge area, but our ask was, trying to look for some funding to help in regards to the building to house the fossils. There's going to be work to be done on that. Again, I'd like to see what happens out of there. Promises were made that they'll be keeping in contact with myself and Zena and Karen Curry in regards to the steps. They don't have any ad hoc money within their ministry. It's all through grants. But then again, you look at the museum states where a capacity can't even fill out a grant. So they do have some people that will assist you filling out a grant. I've asked for maybe one of those employees to come to Tumbler Ridge for a month to assist with the grants. If that's something we can get and we can get that funding, I think that model helps. BC, our Minister of Housing was well prepared. So there was himself, his Deputy Minister, and 2 other staff members. Again, I'll be honest, staff will have all their names. I do not. They had 4 representatives from BC Housing via Zoom. So they were well prepared. We have not got clarification or confirmation back yet today. Before the meeting, I asked Karen Curry We no sooner got back to the hotel and Minister of Housing had already emailed us in regards to trying to set up a meeting in Tumbler Ridge on May 13th. So we just need to wait till we get confirmation of that. We may need to change and work with the date since it's a Saturday, but they're looking at the concept of coming in, doing an open house with the residents to find out what the need of low-income housing is. Their thoughts are the buildings that are down there are past renovating them. It costs more to renovate than it would be to tear them down and build. That's not my expertise. I argued it, but if they say if there's a need, they will tear and build. So to me, I will wait for confirmation, but if that does happen, I think the ask from council would be to make sure we have it out to everybody we can. Because if they do not attend the meeting to show that there's a need within our community for people that would qualify for low-income housing, they will not build until that need's there. One of the comments, and it was at a delegation here, I mentioned how they never advertised it. They actually kicked the last individual out, and that was, talked about there. I won't say they confirmed it. But there was talk about how they never dealt with the Ministry of Social Services, anybody that would go and have to get onto it to assist them about how they had housing in Tumbler Ridge. He actually openly admitted that I was correct. So that was good to hear because in a meeting here, he did not agree to that. But that one was, like I said, well prepared. I hope we'll see something from the BC Housing side. They're definitely willing to meet. We'll have to wait for timelines from BC Housing and the ministry. But they're trying for the 13th. Modi, same thing. I haven't been on the highway. I'm not sure if anybody's traveled out today at all. Was there anything different on the highway? Okay, so soon to be on the highway is they will be setting the local administration staff up from Dawson Creek to have a look at TB Creek, and if it warrants, there will be signal or flashing lights installed immediately along there. They are aware of the sloughing at kilometer 43 or whatever it is. They have committed to doing geotechnical drill samples out of there to find out what it's doing, what they need to do with the cost and all that. So it sounds, their confirmation was it should be done this year. And same with the brush clearing. So we talked about the brush clearing. That was one of the other comments or the questions. They came from Dawson side. I said, it's great you did the farming area where there's no shrubs or trees. They must have made it pretty quick to the Brassy Creek. I said, the worst part of the road is from Tumbler Ridge to Brassy Creek. So right now they're this summer, let's say fall because it's already dry out there. That's why they waited last year was to fall to do it. They're supposed to be going from the Brassy to the Salt rest stop. I have asked if they could not look to find some more dollars within their budget to do the whole highway all the way to Tumbler. They're going to look at it, get back to me, but I've also agreed that I will look along the highway and show them some bad sections. My opinion, my comments to them would be to start in Tumbler and work that way instead of coming that way. But I told them I'd send them some pictures. There was something else from Modi. TB Creek, 42 kilometers. Oh, Murray Forest Service Road. They were supposed to give Council Norbury and myself, Mr. Orville attended the UBCM. We've met with Modi, and they were supposed to give us the amount that they're going to be spending on that road. It is $250,000 this year. So it is to assist with some of the ditch repair and clearing of the ditches and adding material. So it's $250K. It will be done this summer. We talked about the paving of the 38 kilometers. They're well aware of it on the boundary. It wasn't no, we won't look into it. I think they're willing to look a little bit more into it, see if there's something they can look at doing there. No promises, but like I said, they were definitely well prepared. Way prepared than the UBCM. Okay, that's it. Councillor Knoxana. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I had a note on 11.4. I also attended the Let's Talk. I'm not in the minutes from it. And the fire prevention vehicle is there as a pre-approval, and it wasn't pre-approved.
Yeah. Yeah, I see now. I think they just took that copy from the
No,
sheet.
that's fine. I just wanted to make sure it was in our minutes.
So if we could just make sure that Councillor Knoxana is marked as attended, she was there.
I think.
No, you were. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kurka. I just had a question regarding to the BC Housing meeting. Was that just for council or for the community?
BC Housing will be for the community. As far as I know, like we just got to wait till we get an update. So they're looking at doing an open house with the community.
The reason why I ask is that that's 12 days.
12 days, that's what I said today.
It seems like they're setting it up to not get information back from the community because we don't have enough time to advertise to properly recruit people to come in. So, I mean, I think you already said that, but that is my concern. We have 12 days, and we need more time to notify residents.
And I said the same thing. So I actually said the same thing on Friday. They were waiting for confirmation back from BC Housing. We even said on Friday, like, geez, that's quick. So I don't think it's not an unreal ask to spread the date. So I don't know if I'm in favor of a Saturday anyways. And just in regards to, if it's nice out, people camping or whatever, doing tours, doing their out of town things, during the week's better. But I think there's some work and play to happen there. They're going to be reaching out to staff, and I think staff's aware of that. Tomorrow's 11 days. It's not appropriate. And I think the ministry. I don't think they're setting it up fail now. I think they're waiting for BC Housing in regards to making sure they can do it. And I agree. We need to push the date back, but that'll be wait till we have a response back from them. Councillor Noxana?
Can we also ask that there is a way residents can give feedback or ask for help without it being at an open meeting? I know you can apply for BC Housing, but if they're coming to town to speak to residents, there will be people who won't be comfortable standing up in an open meeting saying, I can't afford my house. I can't afford rent.
Yeah. No,
Not a fair ask.
Yeah, it's all online. I think they're just looking for to get the information out in themselves as well. It's not for people to stand up in public's eye.
Yeah.
But most of their stuff is, they got the online windows and stuff. So I think they just want to get that information out. Sometimes when it sounds too good at a minister meeting, it's too good to be true. You got to feel positive. That's one of the better meetings I've attended. And to me, I'll do anything. Like that's why I went. It's to try and get something for Tumbler Ridge, and BC Housing is important. Our highways are important, and our Geopark and our museum are important. And when we're trying to house fossils from Stewart, to me, the government needs to give us some funds. They're going to build a brand new repository in Victoria. So I said, well, we're partially done in Tumbler Ridge. Why wouldn't you assist finishing it in the north? We have tons of, we probably have enough fossils to fill your building already. But it's always a fight, but BC is definitely past Prince George. They don't always understand that, but one of the invites was for them to come up. Every minister I met with, I invited them to Tumbler Ridge. Come up here, let us take you up the river, let's do this with you, whatever. Once you get them up here, maybe then they'll see what we have. We have the jewel of the province. Councillor Julik.
My other concern with BC Housing is fine if they decide they're not going to build something, they need to get rid of the houses that are there. They've become a point for vandalism and all of that stuff. So regardless, they need to address the issue that those houses are in prime real estate area. So I absolutely want to see BC Housing for our residents. And if they say no, then I think we need to make sure we hold their feet to the fire that something gets done with that.
Yeah, I don't think there'd be any holding any heat to the feet. They're already prepared to rip them down. It's their property, so it's prime real estate. It's their property.
Well, just
Right, so
then.
It's about making sure they rebuild them. There's need in Tumbler Ridge. There's a need. That's my goal. There's a need here. If they're going to tear them down, we need them to build more. Maybe they don't need to build 20. Maybe it needs to be 10. But we need to have a facility here.
They need to do something with the property.
Okay. Question and answer period. Ms. Torval? Thank you. Resolution to closed. Okay, that the May 1st, 2023 regular council meeting be closed to the public pursuant to section 9(1)(c) and J of the community charter to permit discussion relating to labor relations or other employees' relations and information that is prohibited, or information that if it were presented in a document would be prohibited from disclosure under section 21 of the Freedom of Information Protection and Privacy Act. Seconder. Councillor Noxana. All in favor? 5-minute recess. You're good, Mr. Rowe? Okay. Rise and report into the open, the council rise and report. The appointment of Brian Woodward as the new Chief Administration Officer for the District of Tumbler Ridge. That's it. Take adjournment of the open. Councillor Dussault, Councillor Noberry, all in favor? Carried.